So, hello and welcome, listeners, to this special episode of Disney Infinity 3.0, The Road to Star Wars. And like the most of the world, we have now seen the first teaser trailer for Star Wars The Force Awakens. And so it makes sense for us to do a review and a trailer breakdown and then somehow rate that as far as has it increased or decreased our excitement for the Infinity version, and whether we're still interested in having it being for this or something else. So once again, I welcome back the co-host Dan, and why don't you get it started? What is your first reaction after seeing this teaser this morning?
My first reaction is a positive one. I do love it. It took me a while to get to that, though. On the first viewing, it started, and I must confess, I couldn't find the actual link. I actually just searched for it directly on YouTube because we reached Friday a lot sooner than the rest of the world, so we didn't actually get it. It was released so late in the US that we didn't actually get it till the Saturday morning. So it was out everywhere. But I found it, and I was worried that I'd clicked on a fan-made trailer, to tell you the truth. I was, just came up with the desert, and then this guy pops up, and it was very animated. It was not what I was expecting. And it took me kind of the first, third of the trailer to kind of realize it was real and get into it and what have you. And then once it got into it, and I started seeing the shots of the stormtroopers in like the troop carrier and the Jedi in the forest, and then the money shot at the end of the Falcon, I was sold. I was there. And it did exactly what it was meant to do. It teased.
Yes, I think I agree. I think that was my reaction, as I felt like I was adequately teased, and therefore it did the teaser right.
Yes.
And ultimately, because as we know, and as the trailer announces, so to speak, we're not seeing this film till Christmas next year. So I would much prefer them to release more trailers spread out.
It's 12.5 months away, and I think that's the problem. People complain if you go the other way, and let the cat out of the bag in the teaser trailer. Teaser trailers used to be 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 88 seconds. That's not bad. It's a minute 20.
Yep.
But basically it used to be, I'm seeing teaser trailers now. Well, the Jurassic Park teaser was 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's not a teaser trailer. That's the first trailer.
Yeah.
So,
although in their defense, they did have that, was it a 10 or a 15-second teaser that came out like 2 days? It was like a teaser for the trailer.
You mean 15 seconds of Jurassic World, kind of like 15 seconds of Infinity?
I must admit, I really like the Jurassic Park teaser, but after watching this, I thought that just destroyed the Jurassic Park teaser as far as anticipation, building anticipation.
Exactly. I got the Jurassic World one gave me enough to be satisfied to wait. Now,
yes.
I kind of went, oh, cool. If they had just kind of done the bits and pieces, like flash shots, like the Force Awakens trailer, I probably would have been more hungry for it. No pun intended. But this one showed me enough and got me like that shot. I loved seeing.
Well, hang on. Before you get there, let's go back. Let's go through it, and we can give the blow by blow of how we felt. So obviously, I agree with you. I watched this in my car, actually, on my phone.
So you got the big screen experience. Let's watch it on my phone.
The side of the road. I was at work. Yeah. I started seeing the tweets and stuff coming in, but that black was really hanging for me in the car.
It was there a long time, wasn't it? Like
it was. And the other thing that confused me,
and they go straight to desert.
I don't know who this voice. I was just thinking Yoda. But it's clearly not Yoda.
And it's not a character we know. My guess is it's Andy Serkis.
Of course it's not Yoda. Yoda's dead.
Well, yes. But it could have been a Force Yoda. He's one with the Force.
Yes, true.
His Force ghost does appear at the end of Jedi, so we know he can still communicate with us.
Yeah. But you're right. Opening on this desert, But again, I think it sends that message of it's immediately recognizable as original
Star
setting,
Wars.
which
Yeah.
but you're right. This part was confusing.
It's so jarring, but in a way that's good. It's like we're not gonna. At first, I hated it, and I'm still not fond of it, but I appreciate what they did. They're like, we're not going to give you what you expect. We're going to throw you. We're going to give you something that you weren't expecting, just to set you on the back foot from the very beginning.
And obviously, there's tons of speculation on who this guy is and why he's in a stormtrooper costume. I'll be interested to see, because as you know, the prequels set that stormtroopers were clones of whoever, the original Boba Fett or whatever. I can't remember now.
Jango Fett, yeah.
Jango,
but then you've got Han and Luke in stormtrooper costumes
exactly.
And I'm sure that wasn't even in Rebels, you've got that girl in kind of the pink armor that's kind of Mandalorian armor mixed with trooper armor. Yeah, so people are sort of saying, oh, why is he not looking like the clones? It's like, well, one, there was talk in the classic trilogy that they were not clones anymore, because once the Jedi were wiped out, they didn't need to spend the huge amount of money on producing clones. They could just have enlist.
Yeah.
And secondly, I don't actually believe he's a stormtrooper. I think he's someone I think that's, if it's from the film, it's a situation where it's part of a plan and he's escaped and he's now trying to work out what his next move is.
I agree. But anyway, moving on, we come to this next very interesting scene. Our first
the soccer droid.
That's immediately what I thought. The soccer droid. Is this the new Jar Jar Binks? Only time will tell.
Yeah, you got to get humor in there somewhere. But look, I think JJ balances the humor nicely. The Star Trek ones, you had Scotty as a bit of a comic relief, but they weren't laden with, poop and fart jokes. Like Jar Jar standing in a big pile of crap or behind a creature when it lets one rip. That wasn't necessary.
And I heard an interesting theory that these machines in the background look like pod racers.
They do.
And is that a subtle joke of like the graveyard of the prequels? It's a nice way of looking at it anyway.
It's a nice way of looking at it. It could be that it's just on Tatooine and pod racing is a big thing on Tatooine. Yeah. So whoever deals in, ships and
I actually like pod racing just quietly. Like I wasn't offended by it.
No, I wasn't offended by it too. I actually went back in anticipation for the Episode VII trailer. I actually went back and watched the Episode I trailer.
Right.
And I still get kind of excited for Star Wars Episode I from that teaser trailer. The Gungans coming out of the mist on the back of their, two-legged things, kind of, riding. Yeah. And then, every journey has a beginning. Every saga has a first, every journey has a first step. Every saga has a beginning. And then it cuts to that shot of the first-person pod racing shot with the Star Wars theme belting out. And it's like, that I want to see. I don't want to watch Episode I again, but that film I want to see.
So here we are with the first shot of the new Stormtroopers. And what's your thoughts on this?
I like them. I really like them. It's one of those things where I think the old design still stands up. But until you see a new sleek design like this, you don't realize just how, they're a little bit bulby, a little bit clunky, a little bit, 1977.
Yep.
Now, in saying that, they've stood up incredibly well, a lot better than most designs from 1977. But like anything, fashion and everything, it does a full cycle. But at the same time, now that you can see this, they could do with a little streamlining, and they look very slick. I like them, but they haven't lost that look and feel of the Stormtrooper.
No. And that's the important thing, because my biggest disappointment of the prequels was that we didn't get Stormtrooper. We didn't get that missing link. They always felt like clone troopers, but we only got that token Vader shot, at the end of the third film, and this is what I wanted to see. So I'm actually kind of glad that we get this updated look, because it makes more sense, but it hasn't lost that. It would feel a bit weird if they were still the same old, you know, outfit.
Exactly. Even though I could completely appreciate that, you know, the Empire had been defeated and they didn't have, you know, budgets to, you know, to basically, you know, why would they need to revise the army if they'd been defeated? But, you know, we're talking about across a galaxy, so just because you blow up a Death Star and defeat the Emperor doesn't mean every single faction is going to be, you know, lie down quietly and, you know, go quietly into the night, as they say.
And I'm just noticing now that these guys are all different heights. So maybe they're not continuing down the clone, or that one that's in focus could be an imposter. Who knows? He
could be the guy we saw at the start of the trailer.
Yes. That would make sense, actually, because as we see, they look like they're about to bail out.
Yeah, so the next shot's they're in some sort of troop transporter.
Oops, trying to get that blaster.
That's a nice looking blaster. Again, updated.
Yeah. Which, you know, advantage Disney. Like, bring on the merch.
Yes, but I mean, it's not like, you know, blasters in Star Wars are a new thing. You know, they're
no, but I'm happy to buy a new up-to-date Stormtrooper blaster if it becomes available.
For sure.
So that's really cool.
Then we get the...
But yeah, as we can see, they're definitely about to bail.
Disembark, yeah.
No sign of parachutes, so maybe they've got some form of jetpack tech.
Well, that could be ground. It looks like there's like a runway or loading dock or something there.
Let's move on. Okay, so we got this chick
riding a giant USB port.
Did you see the meme? Someone put a Magnum
I didn't see the
logo,
meme, but it looks like a giant USB stick.
They put a Magnum logo on the side of it.
No, I haven't seen that. That's funny.
It looks really cool.
I can see the Magnum, but you got to admit,
I don't know what it is about this, but
it's still... Sorry, go on.
We had in episode 1, the prequels, we had vehicles like this, but there was something, the sound of that vehicle taking off, it just felt all new to me. I'm just like, it's like, again, like the trilogies had never happened, and there was this, you know, fanboy emotion of like, oh cool, that's moving and sounding like a Star Wars vehicle.
Yes, the sins of the father have been forgiven by the son, so to speak.
Yes.
But I think in the original Star Wars one, they had to do a lot of the sounds practically, and they could play with sounds. But Ben Burtt, still to this day, he's, I think, one of the best sound designers in the world and the history of film. But they everything had a real world feel, but then they got to the prequels and they could alter stuff so digitally. I think they over-engineered the sound. And I think instead of the speeder bike sounding like they had, like, on Endor, the speeder bike sounded like they had gears and, you know, hydraulics and all sorts of stuff. In the when Anakin's riding the speeder, it sounds like it's got, and I'm not talking about the pod, I'm talking about in episode, I think it's episode 2, where he's on Tatooine and he's going to rescue his mother. It's got this pulsating to it, and it's got all these levels, and it's overproduced.
Yep.
And I think this is back to that kind of real world rawness that the originals had.
This is the part of the trailer where I got really excited. Like,
yeah.
Because
that cockpit
as
shot,
you will know,
that cockpit shot from the classics.
There's no shots in space.
No, not at all.
And certainly we've never seen X-Wings outside of space apart from the one that was stuck in the
swamp.
The swamp.
And we do see them take off from the rebel base to
but this looks like full-on action on ground.
Yeah, or on water. I love that. Yes,
was the moment.
Yeah,
I just thought this is what next gen Star Wars is all about.
Yes, these are the shots they couldn't do with, you know, motion control cameras and blue screen, and, you know, everything had to be in space because they couldn't get them to interact with the environment properly.
Yeah.
When this is where digital excites me. I want to see these sorts of shots.
And I can't tell. It's definitely an updated X-Wing, isn't it? Or is
yes.
it?
No, it is. The noses are definitely more pointed,
Yep.
and the wings, especially the tips of them, seem thinner.
Yes.
They're subtle, and I think the bit behind the cockpit drops down. It might just be that we just haven't seen them on this angle, flying directly across. They're always turning or,
Yeah.
flying direct to camera or whatever. I think there are some side shots going down the trench in Ep 4, but no, yeah, I'd have to see them side by side to compare, but they're definitely revised.
Yes. But again, perfectly done. Like, there's no...
Yes.
You're not offended by it by any means.
No, they haven't altered it to the point of bastardization.
No. Now, this is the most controversial part by far of the trailer.
It is.
But I gotta say, I don't mind it.
No, my he
There it
he
is.
fired up the lightsaber, and I was watching it with my 5-year-old, and his exact words were "Whoa!" So it definitely got the, and my impression was kind of, ooh, it's
Yeah.
people are talking about, slicing off your hand. I don't see that. Also, it's the skilled weapon of a Jedi Knight. They know how to use it. It's like saying Darth Maul's
Yeah.
bow staff lightsaber was also dangerous. I hurt myself with a toy one. You got to know how to use these things.
Yes. And I think what will be exciting about it, my thing is, I don't think you can't condemn a lightsaber until you've seen it in action. It's like the Inquisitor's lightsaber from the cartoon series, the one that does the spinny loop thing.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense when you see it. And I think what this is going to bring is a different style of fighting. I think you'll see more sword, lightsaber fights that are more inspired by broadsword type barbarian style techniques, which will be more interesting to watch than the normal lightsaber acrobatics that we've seen previously.
Well, there's also the idea, I don't know if you've noticed, but this lightsaber looks a lot rawer than the other ones. Look how rough the blade is.
Yeah, it's almost got like this ghost
pulsating
things
yeah.
that like there's a good shot of it there.
Yeah. It's definitely pulsating
raw.
more, and the
More
the edges more flamish and rougher. Like the inside, you can see the
Yeah.
Now I don't like to think that they're updating them. There's such a continuity with the lightsabers through all Star Wars. They are what they are. I'm almost thinking they're talking about almost like the Force Awakens. I'm thinking it's almost like an ancient evil. So I'm wondering whether this is more a really old lightsaber rather than a new one.
Very well could be. And obviously,
hence the older style sword.
Yeah.
The big broadsword. I love the idea of it having the memes have started. There's pictures with like 18 blades fanned around and stuff. And they did make me laugh. There's like 3 up the side and 6 coming out the top. And but people can have their fun, and I think it's hilarious too. But this does make sense.
Yes.
The ability to block in new and different ways. But also in the moving image, they're almost like jets coming out the side. I'm not sure. We have no concept on how solid
like exhaust
those side bits. Yeah, like exhaust. We have no idea how solid those bits are.
And
because they're definitely not
turn on separately. Clearly, you can have them on or
off.
So it's not that big a
precisely
thing.
Precisely. It's like, the idea. People saying you could cut your hands off with it or hurt yourself. It's like, it's a freaking lightsaber. Of course you can hurt yourself.
It'd be interesting to see if all the other lightsabers are like this. Whether they've just gone, look, we're next-gen Star Wars. Let's put more detail in the blade than just a glow.
If it's pulsating energy through a crystal, it would be, absolutely.
It's interesting is we don't actually see the end of it.
No.
Which, it's very long and thin. But anyway, as I said, that's clearly
it's obviously a different weapon in
the
lightsaber family. But yeah, it's definitely a controversial part of the trailer, yeah.
But it's a great shot. Like, that there looks like a painting to me.
It's very... And this is the way I like this is one of the reasons I do like J.J. Abrams. His visual eye. He's kind of... I don't think he's as visually developed as Zack Snyder.
Yep.
And I know that I've just made a lot of fanboys, scream at the screen. I'm not a huge fan of Zack Snyder, but you cannot deny the man is visually stunning.
Yeah.
The man knows how to create an amazing shot. Now you're distracting me with the Falcon. That's not fair. But he's not quite as developed as Snyder in his visual, but he's still up in that same stratosphere. But his character development, his ability for timing and all that is worlds above, streaks ahead of Snyder. So, no, I agree. Some of these shots would make amazing. I'm seeing screen caps from the trailer, and each one of them would make a great painting or print.
Yeah. And this Falcon's the hero shot, obviously. This is
look at the jet streams coming off it, cutting through the environment. That's what I love.
And again, I'm trying to think, what's the most recent Falcon
appearance
shot we've seen? Like in action. We've seen it docked and stuff before, but I can't remember the last time we've seen it in any real action.
Jedi? Really?
Yeah, because I would love to have seen what this looked like in 3D. Probably.
Are they showing it in 3D?
I just assume they would be. I don't know. But it's just an amazing
look at that,
shot.
shooting straight up. And all in a single shot, and I love they lose it. It's like filming a real airplane. Like they're not able to capture it and keep it centered in shot.
Classic Abrams lens flare.
Yeah, but at least you would get a lens flare there.
Yeah,
they're not on the deck on the Enterprise and getting lens flare.
But it's something about it. Is almost it does. I mean, it is kind of. I don't want to offend anyone, but it is kind of shaped like an Enterprise, so it kind of very feels like the Star Trek thing.
That's fighting words.
It looks great. Anyway,
it's got
a good sense of scale.
Well, you get and you get this beautiful shot cutting through the atmosphere, but then you get the TIE fighters, and that's just the icing on the cake. Then you get the that was a maneuver. It wasn't just some fancy flying. Right. The one that's a painting right there.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Hero shot. And again, the TIE fighters just look that little bit sleeked up, a little bit modernized.
It's hard to the wings might be slightly different color, but you can never tell because the light's hitting them, and there's not that much to them. It's basically a ball with two slats of wood. It's not that much to them. But what's interesting, if you can just bring it back to that shot there, the Falcon. One thing I do miss about the practical effects, I know they added the glow of the back of the Falcon, but to me, I miss that kind of flare out on the back of the Falcon since we've started getting the CG version. To me, it doesn't look like it's got the power that it had.
Yeah.
It's like, I do like being able to see the vent sometimes, but when it's blasting through a maneuver like that and obviously accelerating at attack speed, I want to see that, in the classic trilogy, I haven't watched the Blu-rays closely enough, but I don't think they've altered it. But you just get this white glow with this blue halo around it, and that was the back. And I never thought that it needed any more than that, because if you try and take a photo of anything, it's going to flare out all the detail.
Yeah.
And by putting it in like that, it looks like a rendering rather than a ship in action. That's probably my only complaint about the Falcon. I do love being able to see those vents, but I don't think you would see them when it was blasting like that.
I agree. But again, we also don't know, maybe it's had upgrades. Like, nothing's saying it's the same old, Falcon.
It's now a hybrid. It doesn't burn the fuel that it used to. That's what you're telling me?
Yeah. Anyway, there it is. Star Wars Force Awakens, December 2015. I'll just confirm that. Yep, there it is. No sign of, and probably right so, no sign of the Disney logo anywhere.
Yeah, or the Bad Robot logo.
Was there even? I think in the cinema it started with the Lucasfilm. I think it did start with the Lucasfilm green classic thing. But anyway,
and no sign of the classic cast.
No, really no cast at all. But again, I think it makes sense. If I'm in the marketing position, I've got trailers lined up for the bad guys, the good guys, you name it. Like I'm going to have a slow release of all sorts of themed teasers.
It's going to be a slow burn, absolutely, and it's one of those things where, it yeah, we're going to get fed this when they want us to see it, and there'll be a time. I mean, just the idea of a trailer that, you know, has a shot of Han and then fades to black and then fades back up to a shot of Luke and then fades to black and then fades back up to a shot of Leia.
Yeah.
The fact that we're going to get another genuine Star Wars trailer with Han, Luke, and Leia in it, it excites me.
Yeah, and it's good for the fans because this teaser again is enough to give you a taste to go, look, it's going to be pretty good. So you can decide whether you want to go into blackout and go, right, well, I'm not going to watch any more trailers, because you can imagine if there is another 2, 3 or 4 trailers to come out before the film, there's going to be a fair bit of spoiler content in there. So it'd be good to, you know, they've given you the option to go into blackout now to go, yes, I want to see it, and I'm just going to wait.
Yep.
I won't be doing
I made the
that,
mistake
but...
before episode 1. Somebody bought me the script, like the book.
Oh, right.
And I read that, and funnily enough, as a script, it works a lot better. So, I mean, there are issues with the script, but, you know, I guess visually in your head, you come up with a lot more stuff. It wasn't as wooden, but let's not go there. This trailer, overall, what would you give it out of 10?
I think a solid 8. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. As I said, from those opening shots, I was really worried. Even that it only goes for 88 seconds, and I went through a full roller coaster of emotions, even just watching from start to go, from go to woe. But I think a solid 8. I think it teases nicely. I would have liked to see the at least a shot of one of the original cast, or someone from the back that could have been the original cast.
Yeah.
You know, someone holding a green lightsaber, and you're like, oh, I bet that's Luke.
Yeah.
You know, and you're not going to see it. You know. But,
it would have been nice to have the green lightsaber or blue, whatever, to balance the red one. But as I said,
but they gave us something brand new there as well. So it's no one's going to be completely satisfied. But I hate to keep coming back to this, but a teaser is exactly that. It's meant to tease you, whet your appetite, and leave you wanting more, which it did.
Yep.
So
say solid 8. Look forward to a full teaser. And yeah, I gotta say, I think after watching it, I really want Disney Infinity to be based on this more so than the Rebels.
Look, you don't know how far ahead they've been working. I mean, that might have been why they were happy to have the lightsaber unlock in 1.0, because 3.0 can have the new lightsaber.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know how far ahead they're working in with them. But it's exciting, and the idea of those new Stormtrooper designs. I don't want the old Stormtrooper design for Infinity. I want the new one. Save the old one for townspeople or builders. You know, you could have a Death Star builder or a space station builder that's a Stormtrooper. But give me the new Stormtrooper design.
I actually thought that, because like I was really excited for Battlefront, but Battlefront of what we've seen is the original Star Wars classic. And like, I really hope that you can also play as the new design Stormtroopers. Like,
possibly, or it might be that they're developing the engines and what have you for this, and then the second Battlefront will be the new Star Wars, and that way, because you wouldn't play it backwards. You wouldn't play Star Wars Episode 7 and then go back to the original. So do the original now, develop the engines, get it right, and then Battlefront 2 can be The Force Awakens. Yeah. And it'll be just, you know, be huge.
All right, well, we're going to leave it there. We'll move on, but please let us know what you thought of it in the comments. And
what you're excited for in 3.0 with Star Wars.
Definitely.
Now that you've seen the trailer.
And make sure to check out our other shows, our previous shows, and we'll talk to you next time.